making a film that's a part of the DC extended universe that was started by Zack Snyder was like Game of Thrones when it came to politics and people stepping all over you, says Suicide Squad director David Ayer. So this comes at us directly from David Ayer himself when he was talking about the experience of working at DC Comics with DC Comics on the DCEU. Now, if you guys remember, when Zack Snyder was brought on board, he was given free reins to build out this universe. And then when they announced Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Zack Snyder was told to go out there and announce like 6 to 8 other projects that they literally had no idea what they were doing. The investors just said, announce this and we'll figure it out. When they did this, of course, Suicide Squad was greenlit, David Ayer was brought on board, but we know there was already all sorts of politics behind the scenes because of the reception to Man of Steel, the box office, then Batman v Superman happened, they pivoted hard. We know what happened with David Ayer. Behind his back, they were scheming, literally Game of Thrones style, doing stuff behind his back. People weren't told what they were doing. We know people like Jeff Johns were instrumental in major changes. Also Ann Sarnoff, Walter Hamada, Zack Snyder being fired, David Ayer being like blacklisted. There was other directors that were working on projects that were fired. Projects were scrapped. There was the, extensive Ray Fisher situation. There was the whole situation with Jeff Johns. And then, of course, him bringing on Joss Whedon. Like, it was a complete mess. So I get what he's saying. We know, and if you just go back through the old quotes and logs and what people have covered and documented, there was literally a new person that had an opinion that was brought on board just about every year for the better part of the last decade. And obviously different voices wanted different things. Remember, at one point they were gonna beat Marvel in the female game. So they literally were like, don't do any more Man of Steel, no more Superman, rush Supergirl, make Batgirl, do all these projects. And then they like canceled half of it. There was all sorts of shifts in power. There was ideas that were different. There was a whole push for a connected DCU that spun off of the DCEU. Remember, DC TV, Titans, Swamp Thing, that was complete failure. That was a completely different administration running the office there. Like, yeah, it was essentially Game of Thrones. When he says this, it's not wrong. Like, people were politicking to get their thing and their vision made so they could be the one to be seen as a savior. And everybody was stepping over somebody else and throwing somebody else under the bus because they were saying, well, I'm the correct answer to this because I'm investing more money. So, yeah, he's not wrong here. It was essentially a giant bloodbath.